they won't get to more than 50 high-end cars, sometimes failing them, and in some cases they start.
It's just the Zoom.
We have a very good grilled cheese at Circle of Friends Cafe,
Oh,
and we call it the Holy Capoli.
yeah,
It's named after Bob Capoli, who and his wife Carol who started. It's Italian.
okay.
So basically, it's mozzarella,
Uh-huh.
some pesto, roasted red pepper, basil.
Oh,
Basically, it's a caprese, but
Ooh.
made into a grilled cheese.
mhm.
Butter on both sides, fried in a frying pan.
That sounds really
It's
nice.
very good. But you leave there, you're like,
Yeah, yeah, right.
you're like,
To mozzarella.
but it is yummy.
Yeah.
Hey. Yes, hey, come on in there.
All right.
Hey, Michelle, we all give up those Chromebooks? All right, and we're down two today. James not coming. Yeah. All right. Yeah, kill your mother. Kill her, kill everyone around her, you do that.
I'm not making mics like me. That's all right, I'm used to this. Thank you. How you doing?
Mike, that's what you should be asking.
All right, thanks, Matt. Good. Gentlemen,
Yes.
I don't, no rush. I mean.
Sure.
Mayor, how are you? Hi, how are you? Doing well. You're understanding great. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. You're up. Hey.
Hey, let's get together for lunch soon. We have,
Yeah, I'm
good
waiting.
stuff to talk about.
Yeah, we have. I'm glad.
I didn't see.
Good, good.
Yeah.
Here is the.
Oh, yeah.
Right here, and then all.
Anyway, when did you come?
System permitted invoice.
Yes. Put my stuff on the table there, just talk to her. Yeah.
She came up and sort onto our.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
But then we got some packets to get.
Well, one is gone. So, we're in a process.
But.
It's a rebuild, it's like,
And just go there, just talk. Stand over there. Yeah.
we're rebuilding.
Gotcha.
But I mean, it's gonna actually be.
Right.
Like, so you. Gotcha.
You shouldn't be any.
You know, really. That's all, so I got like, so you're gonna be entertained.
It's been a fun lunch.
Okay, good. So I-
Next week's better. So if you wanna.
So.
Yes.
Plus it's warm out and sunny, you're playing out somewhere.
I don't have to play it off. I gotta go do some signal. Well, whatever, she had this thing last Friday and now he's got it wherever I am. It's just,
Yeah, and I was sick for a
I was like, Jake, you just 2 minutes. Like,
I can't explain.
I'm so tired, I can't put my makeup on, I don't wanna be sitting like that. But she did a lot of work for stuff, you know. she-
Yeah, for sure. Joey's up.
She feels terrible.
Yeah, no, not.
I was.
Yeah, I know
I'm just getting over it.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah, Jane's got it now. Have a couple of meters tonight. She make a fall in, I know.
Yes,
Yeah, she's just.
I will.
You know, Jane burns hot, she goes down, she goes down.
Everything, oh, I should warn you.
Yeah.
But she's doing
Want
good.
today's date? Yeah, I'll put the other dates here. Let's see.
Wait a minute, can't say she's old.
I didn't say old, I said older. I mean, you deal with babies compared to me. Oh, yeah,
It's,
as I say to the kids, I know I was young, however, I've done all the tricks.
All those things, especially
I
with
don't
private
think
school girls.
Also Mexico, I don't like that.
Yeah, he said he
A
might.
lot of stuff on the agenda.
Go on, enjoy yourself.
Case.
Okay.
And I'm like,
Said she.
yes, I was there.
Down for the first 15 years.
Yes, I know. She's like,
hi, sorry, we traded.
Has a fee.
Phone calls.
was it urgent?
So, well, no, you're fine.
But when we were
I
taking
gotta
on.
take the, yeah, well, that 150.
Yeah,
It's a little bit, so after the.
okay.
Stuff we're doing. out here.
Oh, yeah, the one that CFO did.
Yes.
That is, okay, gotcha. I need more for that,
I'm
okay.
gonna motion that right after the presentations. Okay.
Make a motion to move it up.
Yeah, and, right, and that's so important, I want to get you stuff.
Okay, that's.
And I'm gonna motion to bring up the union, so the union shows up, it's gonna show up. But they show up on the
Same. So I.
114.
114 and, yep, 112, okay.
So,
Then we're gonna,
Wow.
and I'm like,
uh,
It's like, it's like something for me. Like, things that it's just like.
You're up. No, because I'm like, you know,
Sure. And he wants to pull the wiki, he's not gonna. If somebody wants like a Paul,
27 days.
I was gonna say, where'd you go?
I wake up every morning.
It's
and
the
I'm-
fourth, 27 more days you're ready. What's up, Councilman Weber, how you doing?
Okay.
27. Huh? What's it gonna get to you?
Not up to me.
Yeah, it's up to you.
No, trust me, I have no cloud here. But there was this like, when I was, oh, I know what I.
John Weber said it's up to you, so.
Forget John Weber, he's not.
Seems like a bit much.
Um,
Sure.
All the crazy. Oh, that's right. Yeah, I got it.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not sure.
Yes, here.
Thanks.
I didn't count this over tomorrow. Now.
We got the right side of the way.
Yeah.
How are you?
Oh, so he was in our second generation.
Like 4 o'clock. Yeah, go. And when he called. They both told me to bring it. Right that far out of the thing, like, okay. I know that. Yeah. Like, he's like, really, you're just like, your contract. You know, like, yeah, he said that.
Shannon. Can you sign these 3 for me?
Oh, yeah.
I'll try to answer on my lazy one.
No, no, but.
No, I haven't sent you.
You're my number? Right.
This pen is gonna be then.
Oh.
Want me to get your pen? There's one there too. Okay, right. So just in case the next issues up here or no. Okay, that's no. Yeah.
Oh, no.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, yeah, I hear you. Matt. Yep. Great, thank you very much. That's good. You're good. Ah, thank you. And you're good with this.
Good. You good with this?
Last bit of work we took you to. Yeah. So I can use, I mean, I can still use my Mac for everything. I can just.
She's only done it. I thought that she's gonna drive.
Yeah. It's makes sense.
You're good, right?
With the Chromebook,
Yeah.
I think my kids are trying to use it. Yeah, it's not very much. They told me they were getting some. You gotta come back and clean that.
Now I call the folks in, Asbury, somewhere.
The other day.
I mean, I don't know why they should.
I can find out.
I saw like this is the charge. It looks like this is charge. This is charge. I just saw him say.
It's just the memory. Just say. Everybody's supposed to have their own after. Last year we were at 10. After adjustment, this year, we just say we're down to 8. We actually. You want me to go like this property, that property? You could. Say the then probably 6 to 1. You don't have to call that real. You won't say that. You can just say, we should be. We're at 0. Yeah, go on, issue, but I know you have to work too. Leave it. You can still get it. Right, that's just it, but this one property, this come forward, this one, agree to, an arrangement with the person. So we're gonna. No, that, you're gonna, you guys are gonna have to pay some. You could just say. The plans are out. I think the important thing, because you guys by last time, to be fully transparent, I think the number that's required by the state, that's going from negative. Yeah. Obligation plus 5. Right, we got 5%. And you could also say, in 2 weeks, I'm watching, we're gonna have our planner here. How many years should I have? Pretty long time, I mean. 2 years? Oh, our plan? Yeah. Yeah, I think it's worth knowing, he's been here before, he's been working with for 4 years. You know, Weber, John, how long has Jen been with the planner?
We bought her, maybe she was. First, because remember there was a time when a certain member of the public there speaks a lot, like, you know. We don't have a plan, like, yeah, we got a cycle and like, you know. We don't have a plan. So. Oh, absolutely.
It's 31 minutes, less than there. Good, Ken.
Oh. Yeah, that was like. James, Brigitte, and the director, Kathy Martin, and Chip, and Nixon, Jerome.
Call this meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I wish to announce that the 48-hour notice is required under the Open Public Meetings Act. It was emailed to the Asbury Park Press, the Co-Star, and the New Coaster on December the 19th of 2024. That a copy has been placed on the bulletin board in the borough office and that a copy has been filed with the municipal clerk. As a courtesy to the public, this meeting may be attended via Zoom. If for any reason the Zoom portion of this meeting fails or is disconnected, the in-person meeting will continue and action can and will be taken, providing that there is an in-person quorum. Ms. DeNoble?
Here.
Ms. Greenblatt?
Here.
Mr. Nowicki excused. Mr. Weber?
Here.
Mayor Gubatose?
Here. Thank you, Erica.
Welcome.
So let me just warn everyone, as we begin the evening, our agenda is gonna be a little topsy-turvy tonight. If anyone's actually following the agenda, I warned our council, well, our borough attorney, that he may be having difficulty following the agenda from home. He's sick. Jane DeNoble is sick, our council president. Paul Nowicki is, I hope, playing golf in Cabo, Mexico at the moment, so, but he has a long overdue vacation that he's enjoying. And because we have a number of really important guests with us tonight, I'm going to ask everyone's indulgence if we move some of the items on the agenda around a little bit. But first and foremost, I want to get into section 5 of our agenda, which is presentations and bids. And I'd like to introduce people I consider to be our honored guests from CASA, Monmouth County. Lynn Petrussi is the executive director of CASA and of Monmouth County. And CASA stands for Court Appointed Special Advocates. I was introduced somewhat unexpectedly to this organization. I honestly knew very little about you. In fact, borderline nothing about you. But I was fascinated at the work you do and the story that, you know, your folks tell. So I asked these folks to join us tonight, just to give Bradley Beach a little understanding of the work that's being done here for this particular volunteer organization. And to identify that Bradley Beach actually has 2 of our own serving as volunteers for CASA. So Lynn, can I ask you to give us a presentation?
Good evening. Thank you for having us. My name is Lynn Peterisi and I am CASA's Executive Director. With me tonight is Janine Hernandez. She's our Director of Community Development. We are here to talk about our program, CASA. CASA stands for Court Appointed Special Advocates. We are a nonprofit that started 20 years ago. CASA is nationwide, and each program throughout the country advocates for abused and neglected children in foster care. These are kids that have been removed from their homes. They suffer trauma, either physical abuse, neglect, sexual abuse, emotional abuse, and usually at the hands of someone they love and trusted. Today, approximately 300,000 children in the U.S. are in foster care. In Monmouth County, there are around 250 children in foster care. Some of them are placed with relatives, but most of them are placed with strangers who become their foster parents. Think about how scary that could be. A child is taken from their family, usually by a social worker or police officer, and doesn't understand why or when they can go back home. That's where CASA comes in. We train and support volunteers from the community who the judge appoints to meet with these children and advocate for them. CASA volunteers ensure the children's needs remain a priority. CASA visits and gets to know the child and what they need. They gather information from the child's family, teachers, doctors, caregivers, and anyone involved in the child's life. CASA then makes recommendations to the judge at each court hearing on what is in the best interest of the child. They are the child's voice. CASA volunteers are a consistent, reliable adult presence in the lives of these children. Their caseworkers change, their foster homes change, and even their schools may change, but not the CASA. CASA volunteers show up no matter what, each and every month. CASA volunteers stay with each case until it is closed, and the child is placed in a safe, permanent home. For many abused children, their CASA volunteer will be the one constant adult presence, the one adult who shows up and never gives up on them. Next, Janine is going to share a few stories with you.
Everyone, please take a moment to think about your own lives. How many of you have read the same bedtime story to your child over and over again? This may be your child's security blanket. For foster children, they don't have mommy or daddy to read to them at night. Instead, their CASA volunteer is their security blanket, who shows up for them each and every month. This is how important our CASA volunteers are to these children. My CASA child, Josie, is in her second foster home. She has experienced sexual, physical, mental, and verbal abuse at the hands of the people she loved and trusted the most. When I first met Josie, she was standoffish, her guard was way up, and her self-esteem was way down. After a couple of visits, I brought a deck of mindful exercise cards with me to build our relationship and to build up her self-esteem. Josie pulled a card, and the exercise was to stand a few feet from the person, take 3 steps towards one another, and hug for 3 deep breaths, and say how you feel. Knowing all that she had been through, I asked her to pick a different card, if she would feel comfortable. She denied it. She said she wanted to do the exercise. When she hugged me, I could actually feel her melt into my arms, and I could feel how much she had begun to trust me. I asked her how she felt, and she said she loved the exercise, and it felt good. When the holidays came around and I brought Josie her gifts that were donated by the community, she began to cry. And she said she had never received a present before or had anyone care so much for her. She asked me to thank the community and everyone at CASA. This is the impact our program makes to these children living in foster care. Another CASA child, Johnny, is 12 years old. He is in his third foster home and has experienced physical abuse. When his CASA showed up at his new foster home, after he had been moved, Johnny ran up to her and said, "You found me." This is what we mean when we say CASAs are stable adults in your children's lives. These are just a couple of our stories. Thank you on behalf of these children and all of us who care deeply about their futures and our community. Thank you for letting us speak to you all today and to share the importance of the CASA program. Our goal is to serve all the children in Monmouth County who need a CASA volunteer by their side. We can't do this without your support. Please consider sharing the word about CASA or attending one of our events. We rely heavily on fundraising to sustain our program. Our 20th anniversary gala is coming up on Thursday, April 3rd at the Shadowbrook in Shrewsbury. We have some invitations if you would like. We also hold a in the fall and other events throughout the year. Our events are posted on our website and on our social media pages if you'd like to give us a follow. If you're interested in becoming a CASA volunteer and would like more information, you can see one of us, visit our website or call the office. Next, I would like to introduce you to one of our wonderful CASA volunteer advocates. Joe Albanese is a resident of Bradley Beach, and he would like to share his experience and what CASA means to him.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
I'll keep it short. I know there's a lot of, but it's a great experience. I'm in it a year and have a case for a year. I started last week. And I tell you, the role is significant. You're appointed by a court and you get to get involved in every aspect of the child's life. And you advocate and they listen to you. We have court sessions with a judge. The caseworkers are there from child protection and all services being provided. And your job is to listen to those individuals, meet with them on Zoom or in person, monthly or every other month, and to find out what's going on with this child. And are they getting the services that they need? Might be health, medical type, it might be schooling or extra help, etc. And it's great. They listen to you. You write a report, you send it in, you run that call, and that judge expects you to stand up for that child. And it's been very new, and I've done a bunch of different type of volunteerism. I'm on the OEM, which I enjoy, participating with events in town. And I've done tutoring in neighborhoods that require that kind of assistance, but this is great. So we are looking for volunteers. I won't deny that. So if there's anybody or spread the word, it's not maybe, I don't know, 8 hours a month. It's not a lot. Making calls, checking up on the child, doing visitations, and then advocating to those agencies or looking for services. So it's a great thing. Those ladies are fantastic. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Erica, you do have a certificate or two. We have another resident, Catherine Clifford. Was she able to join us tonight?
Yes.
No. Catherine, at least stand up and take a bow. And we put together a couple of quick little certificates of appreciation, both for the two of you, Joe and Catherine. So would you mind stepping up here one more time? You mind reading this to Catherine? Read it to you, please. Oh.
The mayor and council recognize your volunteering time and effort with CASA of Monmouth County. Thanks to volunteers like you, our borough has dedicated and caring citizens.
Oh,
Thank you.
Joseph.
Thanks so much.
And Catherine, this one's for you. Jump to it. What time is the university?
I have a feeling it's the same.
No.
Alright. So, Borough Bradley Beach, Catherine Clifford, the mayor and council recognizes your volunteering time and effort with CASA of Monmouth County. Thanks to volunteers like you, our borough has dedicated and caring citizens. March 4th.
Thank you. Sure, absolutely.
Again, we just wanted to take a moment to highlight the wonderful work that organization is doing and especially to recognize the two of our own that are making such a nice contribution. So thank you on behalf of Bradley Beach. As I promised, we do have one more recognition. And Michael, can you join us? We can step down here one more time. Michael's gonna make the presentation. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, Michael Rosenberg is the head of our life coach.
How's everyone doing? So Pete Lowy, he's been in Bradley for much longer than I've been alive. Known him forever. He has been the honorary starter for the Bradley Beach Lifeguard Tournament for how many years would you say?
I would say since 2009.
Okay. I thought it was even more. And also Pete has been generous enough, I thought it was only 3 boats, but it's actually 4 boats that he has donated over the years to the Bradley Beach Lifeguards. And he's continuing to give us monetary gifts each year, and we can be, I mean, we're just so happy, and this is just a little token of our appreciation to you. And there you go.
I thank you very much. To the lifeguards as it's my pleasure.
Okay.
And I'm glad to give to other charities as well here in Bradley Beach. So it's my family and that's the way it is.
Thank you very much.
Now. We are going to move off schedule just slightly. We have a council person here on Zoom, Council President DeNoble, who is sick. And I spoke to her about half an hour ago, and the conversation took twice as long as normal because there was a lot of coughing. I had to pause for it. But she graciously offered to join the beginning of our meeting so we could move a vote up early, a very important vote for the borough to authorize the expense of operating expense of $150,000. We'll describe the work later, but because it's an emergency authorization, we need 4 votes. We did not have 4 votes, so Jane offered to join us. In a moment, I'll make these motions. I'm also going to make a motion to move up the vote on our union contract because we have some good news to share with the public. The union ratified the contract yesterday. We, the council, will be approving it tonight. And we'd like to do that early in the evening so that I see some of our union employees here, local 152, so we can let them leave relatively early. So with that said, we're going a little out of sequence here, but I'd like to make a motion that we move the temporary budget resolution, the individual resolution 2025-114 up to this point on the agenda.
Second.
Ms. DeNoble?
Yes.
Ms. Greenblatt?
Yes.
Mr. Nowicki, excuse, Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Mayor Gubitosi?
Yes. So with that said, I'd like to make a motion to approve resolution 2025-114, authorizing amendments to the temporary budget. And this specifically is to cover costs largely due to activities we need to complete before Labor Day. Specifically, setting up handicap pickup and drop off areas at 2 of our beaches. Building handicap lockers for wheelchair bound individuals. Purchasing Moby mats, and we'll talk more about this over time. Moby mats that are extra wide. Our current Moby mats are 4 feet wide. These will be 10 feet wide to accommodate wheelchairs and make sure that folks don't run the risk of running off the current narrow Moby mats. Also, that will include picking up license plate readers, which our police department will be able to use year round, but during the summer specifically, they'll be able to use those license plate readers to help us identify the status of people parking on Ocean Ave under a new program we'll have there, Park Mobile. So the reason for the emergency is because we're running out of time between here and Memorial Day. So we'd like to get this done this evening. So with that said, I'd make a motion that we approve resolution 2025-114.
Second.
Mr. Noble?
Yes.
Nowicki excused, Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Mayor Gubatose?
Yes. Council President, feel free to leave anytime you'd like. I think you wanted to hang on for at least one more motion of ours. And that is, I'd like to make a motion that we move up resolution 2025-112, which is related to the council's approval of the MOU with our local 152 union. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Noble?
Yes.
Greenblatt? Yes. Mr. Nowicki excused, Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Mayor Gubatose?
Yes. So with that said, the council did not know for sure if we would be addressing this evening with the public. Because as most folks are aware, our local 152 with our very valued employees, they've gone 2 years plus, 2 years and 2 months without a contract, virtually everyone without a pay increase. And it was our objective to make this our top priority to get this done immediately, as soon as possible this year. That said, as we put together the agenda, the union had not yet voted, so we put this as a placeholder on the agenda in the hope that the union would have their members ratify the agreement that had been tentatively reached. And the wonderful news for, I think, all of us, for our residents, for our council, and for our employees, is that the union did in fact ratify the contract yesterday evening. I'm going to make a motion in a second, but I also want to let everyone know you will have time to make comments, discuss this. Some of our union employees who are here, if any of you want to make a comment, we'll give you that opportunity. But right now, I'd like to make a motion that the council approve.
Question first?
Oh, sure.
I have to ask a question. And first, thanks for the DPW folks and dispatch that are here. Some time ago, I don't know how long ago, when this was in the other world, in the other administration, there was rhetoric like, this is gonna bankrupt the borough, and you guys got this done in like I'm pointing to you, but everybody out there too. In like 2 months, did anything even close to that? Like, do you have any idea where that kind of rhetoric came from? Matt, I'm looking at you if you. No, I'm looking at you, but. Sorry, I didn't know you were looking at me. I was giving you credit for, getting this across the finish line with the mayor.
Well, no, it was the mayor's doing. I mean, I can tell you there was, in my experience, and I've held other positions where we negotiated contracts with the CWA, with the PBA, with Teamsters, with AFSCME, that nothing ever took this long. There was no reason for this to take this long. It's not gonna bankrupt the town. All it does is put stress on hardworking men and women whose families rely on these paychecks, who rely on them every other week to pay their bills, to pay their mortgage, their rent, their car insurance, their car leases, their car loans. And the fact that the town held it up for virtually no good reason, Councilman, is really atrocious. But it's a testament to Mayor Gubatose. And I can tell you, as being a former mayor, I could not have been able to do what he did. I would have outsourced it to people smarter than me to come up with the mathematical framework so that all this made sense for a variety of people on different scales and different positions, blue collar and white collar mixed together. It may sound like we're saying a lot, but Mayor Gubatose it's his leadership that got this over the finish line. And I'm telling you that there was no need for this, Councilman Weber, for the last 3 years.
Well, thank you both. And are you looking for a second? Did we do that yet?
No, but let's make the motion and then we can have a little more conversation among us. But then I am gonna open it up to the public as well. I'd like to make a motion that this council approves resolution 2025-112, authorizing a memorandum of agreement between the borough and UFCW Local 152.
Second.
Mr. Noble?
You know, I'm sticking around for this one. We've been waiting for this for a long, long time. And I want to, first of all, thank the residents for all your support. I want to thank the local Union 152 for your patience. And I want to really have a big thank you for our mayor, Kupatosi, and our acting VA, Matt Doherty, and our labor attorney, Alan Roth, for your speedy and effective work in getting this contract settled and approved. And I vote yes.
Ms. Greenblatt?
Ditto on everything Jane just said.
Yes. Mr. Nowicki excused. Mr. Weber?
I've thanked the people in the room, but it occurred to me, there's a ton of support from the community, and I'm sure picking up trash isn't the greatest thing in the world, but tomorrow you get to, maybe people don't need those signs anymore, all those support signs. You guys get to, people want to toss them, they can toss them, and I will vote yes.
Mayor Gubatosi?
I 100% vote yes. This was far too long in coming. We have wonderful employees who truly did not deserve to be put through the last 2 years. All that said, and thank you for any credit given to me personally, as others mentioned, our business administrator, Matt Doherty, and our labor attorney, Alan Roth. Is Alan here tonight? Am I missing him? No, okay. He said he was gonna try to make it. But our relatively small team worked really closely together and pulled together a lot of information quickly. But I can't help but make sure I acknowledge the folks who sat across the table from us, because negotiation is a two-way street. I think not only our employees and the union, but the union representatives for the last 2 years have sat on the opposite side of the table, trying their hardest to get things done for our employees. And I like to think we just met them halfway. We got to a point, I feel, where we are now being able to pay our employees a fair wage. We will be, part of the agreement is we are paying retro pay, so the agreed upon dollar amounts that, we've set scales for salaries and wages. We will be providing some retro pay, bringing people whole for the past 2 years. But still, in my opinion, it was a crime. And here is one of the heroes of the day, Alan Roth, our labor attorney. Let the record show has just entered the room. And Alan, I was just complimenting you as well as Mr. Doherty for representing the borough and helping us get this contract done with our union as quickly as we did. But again, want to give a ton of credit to the union leaders and to our employees. So I do vote yes, and I want to thank you all very much. So with that said, I'd like to open it up to, this is a unique situation. I'd like to open it up to the room if there's any resident employee that wants to make a comment.
Dispatcher Browning, and I'm the borough employee. Council and mayor, I would like to express the gratitude of the local 152 and members for fulfilling your promise of completing our contract. The care that was given and displayed was unprecedented. We were seen, heard, and given the utmost respect by all of you up on the dais, as well as Councilwoman Mahoney when she was there. Dispatch, clerical, DPW, as well as the court personnel were finally recognized. And even though we were 4 units, we stood as one. I also want to thank the residents for your words of encouragement and keeping us in your thoughts. From putting our names out there, to placing the signs in your yards. You all helped us complete the task. It's a new day and certainly a brighter future for our small jewel that is Bradley Beach. I cannot thank you all enough for your support. I also want to thank the negotiation team. Each one of you cared so very much about every member of the union. Mayor Gubatosi, thank you so much. B.A. Doherty, thank you so much. Alan Roth, thank you so much. I am so proud to be a member of your workforce and will continue to serve the borough of Bradley Beach with the utmost professionalism and passion. Thank you.
Are there any other questions or comments? Yes, sir, Chad.
Good evening, everybody. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Chad Brooks. I'm the collective bargaining representative for UFCW Local 152. Here on behalf of our president this evening, who couldn't be here, he was away on business, but I did just want to comment about, just add a couple of things to what you said, Mr. Mayor. I mean, yeah, the last 2 months have been night and day as far as negotiations are concerned, in contrast to the past 2 years. 2 years ago, we got an 8-page proposal that was nothing but concessions for this contract, and we tried our best over the last 2 years to do what we could, and, I think it was January 1, you contacted our local and said, let's sit down, let's get this thing done. And so I'm here to say, thank you, Mr. Mayor, for reaching out to us and be willing to engage us and talk with us, and get through this in 2 months or less. I appreciate Matt, I appreciate Alan. I can't express to you, I mean, on a personal note, between you and me, Mr. Mayor, I've had more conversations with you in the last 2 months than I have with the last mayor the entire 2 years. And I just appreciate that, we don't always agree, but we engage each other, we talked, and we got to where we needed to be, and I thank you for that. I want to thank the council because, prior to January, when we were at odds with the previous administration, you guys stood with us. And we appreciate that. And then you followed through on these last 2 months and helping get this done. So I want to say thank you to the council as well. I want to say thank you to the townspeople. I mean, in that last 2 years, we were here at several council meetings, the townspeople stood up. They were here on behalf of the employees of the borough of Bradley Beach and supporting them, and we appreciate that. And it was mentioned before, even in the summertime in July, we had to get a little creative and make some lawn signs. The townspeople put them in their yards, and we really appreciate that. I want to thank the members, your employees, for sticking together and standing strong through the last 2 years. It's been a long haul. And a special thanks to the negotiating committee. So we got Michelle Wiley, who's a deputy clerk. We got Mike LaCour from Public Works, and we got Nicole Browning from Dispatch. We couldn't have done it without those guys. So thank you to everybody involved. It's been wonderful. We finally did it, and I think everybody deserves it. Congratulations. Thank you. Appreciate it.
By the way, I don't think I mentioned this, but the good news is not only did we finally make up for the past 2 years, but the contract is go forward for 3 years. So we're locked in through 25, 26, and 27. So hopefully all of these employees can breathe a lot easier going forward. Any other questions or comments?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
You earned everything you've received. Okay, with that said, then we'll close public comment and move on to item 6 on our agenda, which are workshops. And CASA folks, you are welcome to stay, but if you want to leave, thank you for joining us tonight. Okay, we have 3 workshops scheduled for this evening under section 3. The first one is less of a workshop, more of a brief update from our business administrator, Matt Doherty, on fair share housing.
Oh, on fair share housing, which we just discussed. So I know at our last council meeting, it was brought up the number of units that are required for Bradley Beach coming out of the 4th round, which we're in now. I had a chance to talk with our planner, Jen Bean. She will be here in person to talk with the mayor and council and answer any questions from the public as well at the next council meeting on Tuesday, March 18th. But the good news I can share with, I've already shared with the members of the governing body, but also with the public, is that based on her work and research, the total number of required units that Bradley Beach must provide is -5. So you have a credit of 5 units coming out of round 4, and you're able to take those credits and move them forward into the future. So I know there was some talk about the number 64, the accurate number is -5. So again, how that came to be and the methodology behind it, Jen Bean will be here in 2 weeks to explain that better than me. But I just figured as soon as I knew those numbers, I wanted to be as transparent with the public as possible and let everyone else know. So again, the number's not 64, the required number is -5.
Matt, it's kind of accurate to say that to get to that -5 number, because it's kind of mind blowing, like how are we negative? There's units that haven't been built yet. I mean, there's basically units on paper. Somebody has agreed to build them and they haven't been built yet, so that's part of how we're getting to a negative number. So it's not like no affordable housing is gonna get built because we're at -5. It's like some is, it's on paper, we're just counting that to get to that number.
Right, right. Again, this is coming out of the round, so you're absolutely right. It's taking into account what's existing and also what is planned. Yes,
And the available space in the borough, right?
well, yeah, so there's something that's been referred to in the past, that you may have heard, as a vacant lot adjustment. As you can imagine, in Bradley Beach, much like in my town of Belmar, there's not a whole lot of developable land. And that gets factored into the calculation as well. Again, to get into more detail is really the best thing, if we have the professional planner come, who's been working for the borough for several years now, knows the town well. And he could better explain it and also better answer questions from the public.
If I could help, Mayor, may I speak for a moment?
Please.
So I just want to follow up on what the BA said. I certainly don't want to steal Jen's thunder next week with the nitty-gritty investigation, but the two big upshots for tonight are there's planned developments, but there'll be no unplanned development necessary that's not in the works at this time. And then two, to the extent that this number holds or what have you, we would not face an affordable obligation on 319 Lorraine, and the borough could realize the full value of the property, which is obviously we've been chasing for a while.
Thank you, Greg. And I would, just as a reminder, everyone, we had a tough go last year in 2024, where there was discussion about giving away one of the lots that are gonna be subdivided for the church property. The lot estimated to be worth close to $1 million. The idea was give this to Habitat for Humanity, contribute more taxpayer dollars to fund some of the build that would follow, and then contribute still more taxpayer dollars in terms of tax reductions that the borough would have to give, tax concessions on that property. So all in, it probably would have cost the borough taxpayers, I estimated $1.7–1.8 million to get 3 units last year. The council at that time voted not to pursue it with the advice of our professionals. And we withdrew for the last 6 months of last year from round 3, knowing we would re-enter in round 4, which we did immediately. Also early this year, as many people are aware, we activated an ordinance that had already been in place, as well as a trust account that had already been in place for us to collect fair share housing fees, development fees from private developers, as well residential, as well as from commercial. So we're still doing a lot this year, but knowing that we might have a small obligation. So this is phenomenally good news. We saved all that money by not trying to meet our obligation last year. Now we have not only met our obligation, but unless something changes, we have 5 extra units beyond what we need. And we are going to continue to look for opportunities to expand affordable housing in the borough through the trust fund that I mentioned moments ago we set up and have just recently activated. But it'll be very planful, very intelligent development. So the one thing we will avoid at all costs is anything that sounds like overdevelopment. We're not trying to add density to a town that's already pretty tightly packed. But there may be properties that we can improve. If we develop a trust fund, we can use those dollars to do that. and we can create that much more opportunity for just affordable living in Bradley Beach. So we're very excited as a council, we're very excited to get that news and can't wait to have Jen Beam join us in 2 weeks to share more information as we go forward. Thank you, Matt. I have another guest that I'd like to introduce to everybody tonight, Mr. William Duffy. Mr. Duffy, I'm gonna ask him to introduce himself and his background a little bit, but I met Duff over a year ago, probably. He is, and I'd rather he describes this to me, other than I will say, he is passionate about recognizing men and women who have given their lives in conflict serving the United States, fallen heroes. And it's a personal passion of yours that I know you've taken on. I connected with Duff through Facebook a year or so ago. And he started to explain how he's worked with other municipalities. And as a council person, I asked him if he would coach me a little bit and give me insights in terms of what others have done and what Bradley Beach might consider doing. I asked him to come here tonight because this is very timely. We're only a few months away from Memorial Day, 3 months, I guess, right? March, April, and May. So Duff, would you please join us and give us a quick overview, a little bit of your background, and then also some of the conversations you're having with Bradley Beach.
The mayor says I only have 5 minutes.
It's the old mayor. And Bill, if you need 7, feel free.
I'll take it. I'm gonna give everyone a packet. Municipal clerk, you're an important person.
Thank you.
The VA, definitely important. They run the towns. Thank you, sir. Police department chief?
Yes, sir.
Police officer up north for 40 years up north.
Thank you,
You're looking for it, you're looking for it.
Very.
And Al already has it packed.
I do.
Okay.
Thank you.
I bet that package, but who was Bill Duffy? I'm Bill Duffy. Who's this guy who lived in Clark, New Jersey, up in Union County his whole life? Moved to Brick in 2012, and now he's here at the Bradley Beach Council meeting, giving us suggestions on how to better honor Bradley Beach's fallen heroes. That Jersey Shore magazine article was put out in fall of 2022. It basically describes me and my passion, my love for the fallen heroes, and it put a tear in my eye too. And when my wife read it, she says, Bill, I know you've been doing all this, but she had a tear in her eye. So that pretty well explains it. It's my passion, it's my love. I'm a Vietnam era veteran, 68 to 71. I served in Korea from the DMZ in 69, 70 in artillery unit. We looked across at the North Koreans, they looked across at us at the 38th parallel. 10 GIs died the year I was there in 69, 70. They would try to infiltrate under us, over us, around us. And that's still a combat zone. Korea is still considered a combat zone. That's a combat zone. And I have a famous quote. I came home, the fallen heroes did not come home. That's why we're having this here tonight. We live in freedom because they died fighting our enemy. 1.5 million Americans have gone off to war since the Revolutionary War and have not come home. 1.5 million, including 20 from Bradley Beach. Now, I think for Jersey Shore Town, that's a lot. 20 from World War I until Afghanistan. So I went to, I did a little research on my hometown of Clark, 21 fallen heroes. I had the town pass an ordinance in the 90s that all new streets in Clark would be dedicated and named to the Clark fallen heroes. I've done all the research on it. I was in charge of the Memorial Day parade and services. And I moved to Brick in 2012. The first thing I did was go to the Brick War Memorial, and that needs some tender loving care. So Mayor Ducey appointed a committee. We raised $20,000 in 4 weeks, and we rehabilitated the Brick War Memorial. And my research of the Brick fallen heroes, I found 7 other fallen heroes that weren't on the War Memorial. So we redid the War Memorial, we got their names on there. So what's after Bricks? Then I did La Valette, and La Valette's got a beautiful War Memorial on the bay. But there's some towns that didn't have War Memorials. So first one I went to was Bayhead. Bayhead didn't have a War Memorial. Well, maybe they don't have any fallen heroes. No, they have 5. 3 from World War II and 2 from Vietnam and 1 from Korea. La Valette, Manor Loken. Point Pleasant Beach has 17 fallen heroes, no war memorial. And I don't go knock at the door of City Hall and talk to somebody at the front desk. I go right to the mayor. I go right to the top. No one's ever said no to me. So we got that done in 2023 with the beach, Point Pleasant Borough, 9 fallen heroes, no war memorial. But it's not ignorance, it's just the fact they did, I think because they didn't have a VFW or an American Legion in town, that's why they didn't have war memorials. So we got together with the mayor and the council, appropriated the money. So in 2023, on Memorial Day weekend, we did the Bay Head, we did beach and the borough. And last year, so now after that, over to Brielle Bridge. Brielle's got a beautiful war memorial, Massillon's got a beautiful war memorial, but I get all the names of the fallen heroes and I do all their research, how they died, when they died, where they died, what unit they were with, where they grew up in those towns. So last year, Seagart's got 5 fallen heroes, including a female from World War II. So with the mayor and the council, and we dedicated the Seagart War Memorial. So now I'm continuing. Mattispan, a beautiful war memorial. Then it was Spring Lake Heights, they got beautiful war memorials, but I got their names and did all the research. Then it was Belmar. Belmar has what is known as the Belmar 4. 4 Belmar residents in one day died in World War II on the USS Juno. November 13th, 1942. They were all killed in action against Imperial Japanese naval forces. And 4 from Belmar went down on one day. They called it the Belmar 4. And Belmar's got a beautiful war memorial. I took all the names, did all the research on them. So what's the next town? Avon by the Sea. They got a nice war memorial. Took the names off the memorial and did all the research. And what I do is I got over at least 200 fallen heroes now. And on the day of their anniversaries, I place them on my Facebook page and I'll share them to individual towns. Like preserving Bradley Beach, I put it on there. And so what's next? Bradley Beach. So my daughter is a teacher at Mount School in Spring Lake, and she's the girls softball coach. So I traveled with the team. So they were played at the Veterans Field in Bradley Beach. And when I do that, I walk around, and there was that World War II memorial with the names of Bradley Beach War Memorial. And on the bottom, which is should not have been done this way, Lieutenant Melnick, who was killed in action in Vietnam, his memorial is down in the ground. You actually walk up to that to see his memorial. I think that should not be that way. So then I posted the Bradley Beach fallen heroes, and that's when Al, mayor, I shouldn't call him mayor, right?
That's fine.
And that's when he got a hold of me. We met last year, and here we are tonight. And mine are just suggestions. You may say, we don't like that suggestion. And okay, fine, but I think this is the way you should do it. Let's see. In the packet there, after the newspaper article, that's the World War II memorial by the softball field. Right at top, it says dedicated to Veterans Memorial Field. And down the bottom with the red arrow, that's Melnick's memorial. According to Paul from the Valley Beach Historical Society, when Melnick died in the late 60s, they did do a memorial on the beach area. And in the late 60s, I had a newspaper article from Asbury Park Press. And a northeaster came through, right, Paul, early 90s, and it destroyed everything. So what they did is they moved Melnick's memorial over to the softball field. Right, the next picture is Rodney Park. You've got a beautiful World War I memorial there. It's actually beautiful. My research education was dedicated and erected in the early 1920s and was dedicated in 1923. The next picture is the boulder. That one there is the beach. 20 by 30 brass and bronze boulder put into a 3-ton boulder. And I think they're absolutely gorgeous. My suggestion here at Bradley Beach, obviously you gotta leave the World War II memorial by the softball field because it's dedicated to Veterans Field. But let's my suggestion, let's get a 20 by 30 brass plaque with the World War II names, Lieutenant Melnick's names, and anyone else who's has a Bradley Beach connection, and put it on a boulder and put it over by the World War I memorial. Mayor and council on Memorial Day, when you put the wreath at that World War I memorial, you do that on Memorial Day weekend or whatever, right? Do you also go down to the softball field with a wreath?
No, we don't.
That's wrong. That's wrong. So I think by moving the boulder and the plaque with the World War II guys, Melnick and anyone else put it in that Raleigh Park, and you can do your whole Memorial Day services there. And then the last one, when I do all the research on the fallen heroes, this is most important, is this brochure. This brings them back to life for a little bit on Memorial Day weekend. It gives them a voice. This is Brick's brochure. I just updated it. The Brick VFW, which I'm an officer of, paid for this. And it's a little bit on their bios, who, what, when, where, how, and why they died, where they lived. If I have a photo, I put a photo in there. The Civil War veterans in Brick, I had no photos, but all else, World War I, World War II, Vietnam, and Iraq, I have photos of. So I think you should do that also. And you should hand these out at the Memorial Day services at Raleigh Park on Memorial Day. And I suggest 500 of them. You probably get 300 at the services and give the other 200 to the elementary school. And I give the mayor all the quotes. I got all the quotes on what the approximate cost will be. And that's my suggestion. Any questions?
Yeah, let's start with questions from the council, if any. John or Shawna?
No, because we were pretty much briefed on this last year by you, Mr. Duffy. So great to have Mr. Duffy here in the flesh, but I feel like I know a lot about what you're trying to do because Al was so passionate about this last year. So thank you.
And I too have been briefed by Mayor Gubitosi about this and very much appreciate, your interest.
It's a labor of love and passion. I love American history, especially military history. And I just absolutely love it. And if I can enhance the fallen heroes in the other towns to make it even better for the fallen heroes. That 1.5 billion statistic, that's low compared to other countries. This is gonna shock you, this number. Russia, World War II, 13 million. 30 million civilians and soldiers in Russia died. That's something. And out of that 1.5 million for America, little under half of that, 700,000 was the American Civil War. 700,000 was the American Civil War. About 350 each side. That number is shocking. Put it through.
Well, Duff, let's open it up to the public. Any questions for Mr. Duffy?
Yes, sir.
Sir, do you have a website that lists the memorials and where they are?
No, I do not, but
Do you have?
that's a goal of
You
mine.
have a list
I'll get a list of what, sir?
of where they are, so I'm not familiar with the other town memorials. I know Neptune has a great.
Yeah, they have one on 71. Neptune's is gorgeous too.
Neptune's great.
I can do that.
Yeah, give us a list, I'd love to see and ride around and see them, I mean, some of them are grand.
No, I'm here to help the business administrator, the council,
Well, and the reason well, first of all, it was happenstance. I did see one of your Facebook posts on a soldier who's captured on our World War I memorial. Arthur Garrity.
Yeah.
And I, for the Historical Society, I had put together a little summary of Arthur Garrity. And then you profiled him on your Facebook page. So I reached out to say, thank you for doing this, for keeping this person's name alive, his memory alive. But that led us to this discussion, and I hope our residents will agree, there's just more that we can do to recognize these fallen heroes in Bradley Beach. We have these memorials, we have a very nice Memorial Day celebration, recognition, but there's more, and especially where you really caught me, Duff, was when you said you should bring these all together. And
big issue.
Yeah,
It's better.
the question of.
Raleigh Park is gorgeous in Bradley Beach. I think it's gorgeous.
It's gorgeous, but the question you asked, which you asked again tonight, do we walk down to, the World War II guys or Melnick in
Yeah.
Vietnam? And we don't, and we should, and the plan over the next 3 months is to make this all happen, so thank you for joining us.
One last thing, not everybody is killed in action in a combat zone. There's other DNVs died non-battle, wounded in action, maybe died 3 months later in a hospital. Suicides, accidents, jeep, tanks fall over, died in service, accidental, and not everyone's a KIA. There's different types of deaths.
I have one other thing, Mr. Mayor. It's a good time to say this since it's on our mind. Neptune Mayor Robert Lane contacted me yesterday, and they want to have a small parade and a service and a lunch for specifically for Vietnam veterans. And it's gonna be like a short parade in Neptune. I'm just not exactly sure where they're starting, but ending up at their VFW hall, just like a 5 or 6 block thing. And he reached out to me just because he wants to get as many Vietnam vets from the area involved in this. And then, of course, it's a parade, so we need people to be on the sidelines watching. I put him in touch with Bill Shuck, who I'm actually shocked is not here because he's a regular council goer and a Vietnam veteran. And hopefully they'll make that happen. But while it's on everybody's mind, this is March 29th. I'll get some more information about it before our next council meeting. Robert Lane said he was going to give me a flyer. I don't have it yet, but just you should know about it because this is, again, specific to Vietnam, and just it's coming before the end of the month. So I'll get more information and get it out.
I salute you all. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dick.
Announcement. Councilwoman DeNoble asked me to inform everybody she's leaving the Zoom meeting.
Thank you, Erica.
Yes, good night, everybody. Great work.
Thank you, Jane.
Thank you.
One more workshop. This is really much more of a quick update from, again, our business administrator, Mr. Doherty, on Park Mobile.
Thank you, Mayor. So, we're interested in moving forward with the contract with Park Mobile. This is basically a cashless way to pay for parking up on the beachfront. Other towns that use this right now are around us, or Belmar to the south of us, and Asbury Park to the north of us. It's an app on your phone that, many people are already familiar with. The nice thing is, it's easy to collect the money. It also alerts you ahead of time, so you're not racing back, fighting hoping the class 1 doesn't write you a parking ticket before it expires. So it gives you an opportunity to pay the parking as opposed to paying a parking ticket. It's kind of pulling some of the parts of Bradley Beach into the 21st century a bit, getting away from the cash and the coins of the past, and making the beachfront, or starting to make the beachfront a little more cashless. It's great for our CFO loves it. Anyone in finance will always love automated things over cash transactions.
And we also have, I'll call it an aging meter infrastructure. A lot of the machines we have on the beach right now are showing signs of rust. Some have already had to be replaced. The screens are fading from the intense sun, so you can't always see what you're trying to sign up for. So we're also at a kind of a point in time where we have to decide to start to invest in upgrading what we have today, but that's relatively expensive. The meters we have in place today have been here for 8 or 10 years. So we'd be investing for the next 8 to 10 years, or pivot right now and switch to what we think is a better technology. So that's the direction we're going. There will be some growing pains. As mayor and council, we'd love to have this be smooth, easy transition, no concerns, no complaints. There are going to be people who only use cash. There are going to be people who fumble downloading an app. But towns all around us use Park Mobile, and they're using it very successfully. And I think we will do everything we can to educate our visitors and users of Park Mobile. But my hope is it'll be relatively smooth, and over time, it'll be a very valuable enhancement for Bradley Beach. Hold on. We are going to take questions in a minute. Just one more bit of business. Any other questions, though, specifically?
Just comment a little bit.
Oh, please.
So I firmly believe that we need to move forward with this technology. We're going to be doing it. I do have some concerns, which I've expressed about the need for some physical stations in the event that there are people who either do not have smartphones or do not have credit cards or debit cards. There are people out there, but perhaps fewer and fewer. I don't really know. So if there is a need down the road, if we see there's a need, is there an opportunity to put a few pay stations in if we feel that we need them? I guess that's a question that I have. the communities that do use this mobile app, they also do have some physical pay stations. At least I know Asbury does. Does Belmar? I'm not really sure.
No, Belmar.
They have none, and they've had this in place for a number of years.
A couple of years now, yeah, particularly, it really became popular during COVID. Just the less interaction with folks. But one thing we're learning from Belmar we're not gonna do is that on every parking space, they stamped on the ground Park Mobile, which is really overkill. So when we do this, you have to put appropriate signage, but we don't wanna overdo the signage and make it look unattractive. So it's something we'll be conscious of as well.
Right, so as we go through the process, if we see that there's an issue, as I had suggested,
It could be, so we won't resolve it tonight. It
Right.
could be challenging, for example, setting up a certain area that had cash meters, but you can only use them if you can't download an app. It's, the logistics of it could be challenging to figure out. So part of me, my personal bias, I'm not, the council can vote against this. My personal bias would be to say, just dive in both, feet first and communicate the heck out of it. So residents and visitors just understand. The thing is, we're 4 or 5 years trailing everybody else. So the good news is people have been learning how to download these apps for a number of years already, so. But I'm not saying we wouldn't try to accommodate, I have to understand logistically,
yeah, I mean, I don't know how it works in Asbury, let's say, where
Yep.
there's a pay station and there's also the app. And they actually use Park Mobile and Passport. Why they use two, I'm not quite sure. But yeah, I think personally, I think it's the right direction and we're compelled to go in that direction.
Okay, I'm gonna do something again, I warned you all, a little unusual in that. We have right now, the next item on our agenda, closing the workshop, I'm looking, no more questions. Would be for the council to vote on Park Mobile, but I realized we'd be doing that before the residents had a chance to make comments or questions. So what I'd like to do is make a motion that we move to approval of minutes and then public comments. And then we can address 2025-98 as I'll make a separate motion at that point to move it to individual resolutions. So right now, the motion is, let's move to approval of minutes, item 7 on the agenda, and take it from there.
Okay.
Mr. Noble excused, Ms. Greenblatt,
Yes.
Mr. Nowicki excused, Mr. Weber,
Yes.
Mayor Gubatose.
Yes. So number 7 is approval of minutes.
Executive session.
I'm sorry.
Executive session.
Yeah, the council business meeting and then the executive session
Right.
minutes. I was not there for either, so I will look to one of my colleagues to make a motion.
I make a motion to approve or to go forward with the meeting minutes from February 18th.
Okay,
Second.
thank you. Mr. Noble excused, Ms. Greenblatt.
Yes.
Mr. Weber,
Yes.
Mr. Nowicki excused, Mayor Gubatose.
Abstain. Okay, item number 8 on our agenda is public comments or questions pertaining to agenda items only for tonight. Oh, I thought you said both.
Did that cover both?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, you covered both. You're good.
Okay, so are there public comments or questions on any agenda items? Yes, Mia.
Mia Mullen, 302 Fourth Avenue. My jaw dropped with the affordable housing discussion this evening. Kudos, thank you. I just wanted to remind you that that was a big issue during the mayoral campaign, right? We all remember that. So I just wanted to ask you if you can give some highlight to that in the upcoming newsletter. A blurb of some sort, very high level, where you also let people know that Jen Beam will be at the next council meeting to provide further or more detail around that. But I really think that it's a good thing for the town, because I still hear rumors about that when I talk to people that don't understand really what happened at the last election with the mayor. They don't participate in the detail of what a lot of us in this room did. So I just wanted to ask you if you can do something in the newsletter.
We can ask Amy Hall, maybe we can give her a little blurb.
Yeah, just something to highlight that, you know, it's
And maybe-
-5 or
Yeah.
something that makes it a very positive, because people were very.
And maybe
there
where
were
these,
people upset about that during.
maybe where the units are coming from, because we are getting some units and we're getting credit for other units, and like, just, if we are allowed to, let's just, yeah, like I say. put it
It's
in
just
the
a
newsletter.
positive
Yep.
thing for the town where people are worried about it, and there's no need to worry anymore, is what I'm saying. So thank you.
Thank you. Comments or questions, Nancy?
Nancy Meadow, Ocean Park condominiums. Resolution 2025-107. It would be really helpful, I think, and maybe it's on the website, but we're not gonna go into that right now. If there could be some sort of fee schedule, if we could see that exists for, you know, what we charge for different kinds of permits. I don't mean the building permits, I mean the special event permits. You know, pass throughs and then who has to pay, who doesn't have to pay. You know, what do we rent out bocce courts for 6 hours?
$300.
$300?
Yes.
And is that is that like state standard in the borough for other places? Or is that just?
That's the only group that does that every year, and their first year was last year, and it was $300.
So we jumped it from 300 to 600?
No.
No, they paid $300 last year also.
Oh, okay, so that's a $300 thing,
Yes.
but again, other people, other groups could or do rent out other facilities. And I'm just saying a fee schedule that the public could be aware of might be helpful. That's thing that, you know, I've said it before, all of these things cost the borough money. Which. Well, I'll save that for next one. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
My name is Shishia Swinchell, Fourth Avenue. Regarding the parking on Ocean Avenue, I welcome that, but please take down that meter on Fourth Avenue that never worked all summer last year. And they had to walk, I don't know how many people got tickets because that machine wasn't working. And they either had to go down to Second or up to, I guess, Brindley. So please remove that machine from the area. Also, the bocce courts, when they have tournaments, is there a fee associated with that? Do we generate any income from the bocce courts?
I think, Erica, you were just saying that's the only one we're.
That's the only one, and they do it as a fundraiser.
Just the food pantry?
Yeah.
But what about the tournaments? When we have tournaments there?
That I don't know anybody what other groups do tournaments. I know the Food Pantry does one every year for their organization, and it's fun.
So if it's through recreation, I don't think people are paying a fee. If it's not always tournaments, it's just recreation play. They used to have that regularly. But it would not surprise me if some people, because we have nice courts, they just show up with their own bocce equipment and play, and they're not paying the borough anything, but. we
Well,
get for building
I
such nice
just
courts.
know that I thought I saw many tournaments during the course of the summer. And should they be free? If it's a tournament, let's say if there's a tournament for paddleball or anything else, do they get,
It's a good question. I recall there was a tournament that paid the borough a couple of years ago, I want to say. And sitting here, we approved a fee similar to this, but for the most part, I think a lot of it's locals that
And
organize.
who maintained, I know I see volunteers out there, but does Public Works,
Yes.
they're using man hours to maintain the courts.
It's a question of, can we, is it like the playground? You can play on the swing set or you can play bocce ball. Or is there a way we could isolate people to charge them a fee? And I
When
don't
they
know.
go to the playground, it's recreation and it's family and there's no fee, I can't.
No, but a lot of families play bocce ball.
I'm not complaining, I'm not suggesting that they should be charged, I'm saying when you have an organized tournament. Shouldn't there be some type of fee associated with that?
We will look into it. We'll
Okay.
work with Courtney.
I wanted to.
I'll say something so you can remember what you were gonna say. I would be open to, if you're gonna tap the bocce ball courts for a certain amount of time, a certain number of hours, then you gotta pay. As opposed to like, come and play with your friends for an hour, it's like,
And I'm not, I feel as though if the family wants to go out there and play bocce, they should be allowed to do that. My issue is when you have an organized group or an organized tournament, there should be some type of fee associated with it. That's just my own personal.
We're not aware of organized tournaments coming in, so we have to identify them,
Okay.
set a policy,
Okay, well,
and then we
thank you.
can.
Okay, I think volleyball also, don't we have volleyball tournaments that take place?
That's a volleyball clinic, that's a company or an
And they pay a
organization.
fee to.
Yeah, they have a concession license, so.
Okay, but therefore it's generating income on some level for the borough, correct?
Which is a good thing.
And yes, and it's compensating for whatever manpower that we have to use.
Agreed.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Cohen.
Thomas J. Colan, 612 Third Avenue. Mayor, with regard to the comments by the two previous speakers, when the Bocce Stadium was constructed under the Engelstad administration, I recall off the top of my head, it was about a $75,000 improvement. And we were told, we're gonna get all this money back because we're gonna charge for tournaments. Now, I guess it was politician speak, because I haven't seen where we made any money from it. So these previous speakers are not incorrect. I just want to apologize that I've gone to these meetings for so long that I recall that. But I'll be happy to go back in the videotape, and that's what transpired. There's no reason our facility should just be used for free. And they're 100% correct. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Anyone up on the screen?
I don't see any hands, that's a cursor, by the way, that little white hand.
All right, so we will now be starting to pick up speed. I'd like to make a motion. As you recall, we skipped over 2025-98 because I want to make sure the public had a chance to comment. But I'd like to make a motion now to move 2025-98, approving a contract for Park Mobile LLC to the what is we call this, the individual resolutions. Is there a second?
Second. Mr. Noble excused, Ms. Greenblatt,
Yes.
Mr. Nowicki excused, Mr. Weber,
Yes.
Mayor Gubatose.
Yes. Okay, next section of the agenda, ordinances, introduction. We have on the agenda ordinance 2025-11, which basically was focused on increasing our fees for violations. And we came right down to the wire. We are still tweaking that, working with the courts, so we are not ready tonight yet to introduce it. The plan will definitely be to introduce it in 2 weeks, but for now, I'm going to make a motion that we table the introduction of this ordinance 2025-11.
Second.
Mr. Noble excused, Ms. Greenblatt,
I'll say yes, and I just want to also clarify, it's not just a matter of raising the fees, it's a matter of bringing them up to current charges, because they've long been
ignored,
sorry.
okay. Mr. Nowicki excused, Mr. Weber,
Yes.
Mayor Gubatose.
Yes. Next is adoption of ordinance 2025-10. This is an ordinance amending chapter 123 beachfront areas and adjacent waters of the borough's revised general ordinances to prohibit the subletting of beach locker rentals. Because this is an adoption, we'll entertain public comment. If there is any.
Well, actually, you have to make a motion to open.
I'd like to make a motion to entertain public comment, if there is any.
Second,
Mr. Noble excuse, Ms. Greenblatt?
yes.
Mr. Nowicki excuse, Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Mayor Gubatose?
Yes. So is there public comment or questions? Yeah.
Yes.
Please.
I don't know.
Any, where you wanna go?
Did you say I had to come up here?
Yes.
Yes, okay, sorry.
And you have to say where you live loud.
Liam Mullen, 302 Fourth Avenue. It doesn't really affect me because I have a locker already, but I don't understand how you would police that. Like technically, not technically, but who knows who's doing that? We have to police each other. I
We
guess?
have secret ways.
So in the lease, it says that you agree that you cannot sublease your locker. All we're doing is putting that into the ordinance.
Oh, we're just
So-
cleaning up paperwork that you
Yes.
can't really enforce and.
Well, if somebody brags about like
Oh, I
subletting
got
their
this
locker,
locker
like
for
I think
me.
we can, you know.
We actually have identified people, but to your point, it's not a programmatic identification, but when we do at times stumble across that situation, they,
We approach these people.
we have to void the contract.
I was just curious.
Okay.
I should report people if I suspect.
Any other public comment? Anyone on Zoom?
No.
No. Okay, I motion that we close public comment and adopt ordinance 2025-10.
Second.
Mr. Noble excuse, Ms. Greenblatt?
Yes.
Mr. Nowicki excuse, Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Mayor Gubatose?
Yes. Okay, item 10 on the agenda, communications. We already got a local 152 update. So I'll move to the second, which is County Route 40A Memorial Drive. We just received, we, the council, and perhaps specifically me, the mayor, just received a letter from the Board of County Commissioners that there's going to be, over time, renovations done to this strip of street, whatever, between Route 33 and Route 35, largely shrinking this from 4 lanes to 2 lanes on Memorial Drive. And they're going through a fairly lengthy process. The process begins with, what do they call it? It's preliminary engineering. Then it'll move to final design rather, and then final engineering. So the first phase is kicking off with a meeting on March 10th. A few days away, right, a week away. And it'll be 5 to 7 PM, Neptune City Community Center. That is 117 3rd Avenue in Neptune City. So anyone who's interested, I just want to make sure our residents are at least made aware. Once again, it's to shrink the width of that road. And it's March 10th, 5 to 7 PM, Neptune Community Center.
Can I share some of the elements that they're gonna be looking at? Because this affects many of us, Memorial Drive. So they're looking to convert Memorial Drive from a 4-lane roadway to a 3-lane configuration, which is called a road diet. I'm assuming that middle lane would be the opportunity to make turns. Adding bike lanes in both directions, upgrading existing traffic signals, and installing a new signal at 4th Avenue. I'm not sure what kind of signal that is, if they talk about a new signal, because there's not an existing red light there. Yeah. Installing rectangular rapid flashing beacons at 11th Avenue, improving curb, sidewalks, and pavement throughout the project. So those are some of the things that they're gonna be addressing.
But yes, any question?
Now, can I say something? Is it appropriate or
I'm recognizing, you, so yes, please do.
The steps.
We're going out of, we're being a little flexible here because the point is to communicate this. I want to make sure people understand
I'm
what's happening.
sorry, but I
No,
just,
it's fine.
Fourth Avenue and Memorial Drive is in dire need of a traffic light. There have been so many accidents at that site. I think, I might be wrong, I think they now have a flasher there. And it's very confusing to the driver because it can appear to be a flashing, red flashing from the railroad. So please do everything you possibly can to get a regular traffic light on Fourth and.
I would also recommend, this is a public meeting that's taking place on March tenth. It's a public information session.
Is it?
Residents are welcome to attend.
Is it possible, is it gonna be on Zoom at all?
I don't know.
It doesn't
Is there a way
say
that-
that.
It just says in person. So it's next Monday from 5 to 7.
Thank you.
Okay, if no other questions or comments on that, we'll go back to the agenda of resolutions and consent agenda resolutions in particular. Before we vote, are there any items you don't want to consider discussing or voting on separately? Okay, with that said, I'll make a motion that we approve consent agenda resolutions 2025-107 through 2025-111. Is there a second?
Second. Mr. Noble, excuse Ms. Greenblatt?
Yes.
Mr. Nowicki, excuse Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Mayor Gubatose?
Yes. Okay, for individual resolution, and I want to make sure, Erica, where did you bring forward -95? Is that at the end
I
of?
mean, 98, you can do it now if you want. You moved it to individual, so you can do it now.
Okay, let's do it now, just, it's
Yep,
one of
that's
the
fine.
earlier numbers.
Okay.
Okay, for resolution 2025-98, approving the contract with Park Mobile LLC. I make a motion that we approve this resolution.
Mr. Noble, excuse Ms. Greenblatt?
Yes.
Mr. Nowicki, excuse Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Mayor Gubatose?
Yes. Item 112, we already moved up and voted. Individual resolution 113, the public sale of surplus property consisting of certain artifacts and other items from the borough's former church property at 319 Lorraine Avenue. Ms. DeNoble is spearheading a lot of this work, and Mr. Weber is unable to vote. He has to recuse himself. And I spoke with Council President DeNoble earlier today. There are still a couple of things she's trying to tweak. So for all these reasons, I make a motion that we table 2025-113.
I second.
Mr. Noble, excuse Ms. Greenblatt?
Yes.
Mr. Nowicki, excuse Mr. Weber?
Greg, can I vote to table an ordinance about the church? Cause
Greg?
he's coming on.
Okay.
Oh, I saw him. No.
John, I asked Greg this question
Oh.
earlier. And the answer is, it won't matter. You should just abstain.
So I'll abstain. I
It's-
just wanted to make sure with the.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
'Cause it's
No, I didn't know
majority
either.
that's here.
Yeah.
Okay, so I will abstain, but thank you.
You're welcome.
Apparently, the voting members rule. So if we tie here, Sean, I have no idea what we do.
And somebody check on Greg, because he might be unresponsive on that.
We go with Greg.
Mayor Gubatose?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, item, individual resolution 2025-114, we've already voted on. Move to 2025-115, the police department petty cash fund amount increased. I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. Noble, excuse Ms. Greenblatt?
Yes.
Mr. Nowicki, excuse Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Mayor Gubatose?
Yes. 2025-116, I make a motion to approve the approval of a lien redemption refund for 113 Lorraine Ave in the amount of $2,569.21.
Second.
Mr. Noble, excuse Ms. Greenblatt?
Yes.
Mr. Nowicki, excuse Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Mayor Gubatose?
Yes. Let's see, 2025-117, I make a motion to approve the authorization of a payment of $2,500 to Galaxy Geese for goose control services at Fletcher Lake.
Second.
Mr. Noble excused, Ms. Greenblatt?
I say yes, and emphatically yes, as a Fletcher Lake Commission liaison.
Mr. Nowicki excused, Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Mayor Gubatose?
Yes. 2025-118, the bill list for March 4th, 2025. Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. Noble excused, Ms. Greenblatt?
Yes.
Mr. Nowicki excused, Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Mayor Gubatose?
Yes. Next item on the agenda, item 12, announcements. There are none. Item 13A, the administrator report. I'll turn it over to Mr. Doherty.
Thank you, Mayor. I will try to be as brief as possible. Because we already discussed the contract and some other park mobile stuff and affordable housing already. But one other thing that I think is important for folks to recognize are relationships that people build. So I had the director of the county commissioners, Tom Arnone, approach me because he wanted to get information and meet with our mayor, Al Gubatose. And that is vitally important because for us as a municipal government to take care of the services and the needs of the residents, having good, strong relationships with Monmouth County allows us to provide resources from an organization that's much larger than us, that can buy things much cheaper than us. Whether it's, asphalt for our Department of Public Works, some technology stuff for our police department, additional resources. It's great to have a good, strong relationship, no matter what your political affiliation is, Democrat, Republican, Independent. It doesn't matter when it comes to serving the residents. So, I'm sitting down and meeting with some business administrators that I'm getting to know, whether in Neptune City, or the deputy city manager in Asbury Park, and I've been talking already. But I think it's important for me as the business administrator to try to facilitate those relationships on behalf of the municipal government, particularly with organizations much larger than us that have, again, purchasing power and resources that a small community like this will simply never have. And I know we already have it on this, but we have great employees like Joshua here, who comes to work every day at Department of Public Works, literally puts his head down and just works. So I think it's important to recognize those folks individually on occasion. Also, Joshua is a Steelers fan like I am, so added kudos to Joshua. But that's all for me, Mayor, unless there's any questions from the council. I have no good stumpers for you today, Councilman Weber. Like who's got the most popular beach locker locations in town, so I apologize for that, but I will try to come up with something next time. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Doherty. Now move to item 13B on the agenda, which are mayor and council reports, and Councilwoman Greenblatt, can I ask you to start?
Sure. So I would just first like to personally thank the municipal workers, the police, fire, and EMS for the warm welcome they gave the Bradley Beach Elementary School third graders last week when they visited the borough. It really was a display of a strong sense of community and education for the students. And I also want to say how happy I am, Mayor, that you are here, sitting next to me up here on the dais. And I think I speak for the whole community to just share the gratitude that we all have that your family is healing now. So thank you.
Thank you.
So I'll start with my report. I was also tasked with sharing Jane DeNoble's report, but the Arts Council met on February 28th. The council has identified a number of potential members. They anticipate having all candidates in place by March 15th and hope to bring these appointments to the mayor by the end of the month. The council will also be reaching out to all those who express interest in the Arts Council and organize them by arts interest. Volunteers will have a supportive role and assist with Arts Council programs. The working group will sketch out some ideas for its kickoff year as a new Arts Council, with a scheduled art exhibit of town artists at Posh Real Estate on June 7th through the 14th. This exhibit will be partnered with the Arts Council and the Bradley Beach Alliance Visual Arts Community, the VAC, and an anticipated performing arts event during the BBBCA's Bradley Beach Days, June 7th and 8th, much more to come. The next meeting of the Arts Council is Friday, February 21st at 2 p.m. The rec committee has not met since our last council meeting, so some of my announcements are repetitive. The Silver Ball Arcade Middle School event will be rescheduled shortly. Please keep an eye out for updates. For those who have registered for Radio Bingo, it's this Saturday, March 8th at 7 p.m. at the Fire Hall, 815 Main Street, adjacent to the fire station and behind the Biasi Center. It's a sold-out event, so no ticket sales at the door. Mahjong continues to meet every Friday at the Biasi Center from 1 to 3. Open Rec is on Thursdays and Fridays for kids to come do homework, play games, get crafty, and watch movies after school. That's Thursdays till 6 p.m. and Fridays till 7 p.m. The next senior club meeting is Wednesday, March 26th, 12:30 at the Biasi Center. The rec department will be hosting a monthly bowling club to begin in April. Date to be determined, but going forward, it will run one Wednesday evening per month, 6 to 8 p.m., $10 per person, includes shoes and unlimited bowl. There will be a student drop-off associated with this event at the rec center, enabling parents an evening out. Grammar age students can expect movies, popcorn, fun, all under the supervision of adults. Summer camp enrollment opens this month. Resident enrollment opens March 10th, and enrollment for non-residents opens March 17th. This gives residents a priority enrollment period. The camp runs for 7 weeks, June 30th to August 15th, Monday through Friday, 9 to 3 p.m. Please go to the borough website homepage for details and registration. The Recreation Board's next meeting is Monday, March 10th, 6:30 p.m. at the Rec Center. The Fletcher Lake Commission also has not met since our last council meeting. The commission will plan its reorganization meeting this month and approve its membership and terms. As spring approaches, the commission anticipates an increase in violators of the ban on electric vehicles on the bridge. Consequently, they've asked that the sign currently on the Bradley side be replaced with a larger sign, which the borough has agreed to provide. In the coming months, the bridge will be stained to create a better barrier to protect the natural wood. They will select a transparent stain with a low tint color yet to be determined. Both the Bradley and the Neptune sides are commissioning the services of Mike Campbell, Galaxy Geese, for the year ahead. Thanks to our administration for following up on a resolution to approve the service and payment, and to the mayor and council for approving it. The next commission meeting is scheduled for Thursday, March 13th at 6 p.m. Shall I proceed with President
Please do.
DeNoble's report?
Thank you for your comments.
Thanks. So this, Council President DeNoble wanted to share a letter from Dr. Heidelberg, Superintendent and Principal of Bradley Elementary School. And it reads, "Thank you so much for your hospitality today. The kids just got back and they were buzzing with excitement about all the wonderful things they experienced during their visit. They especially enjoyed touring the jail, receiving their future mayor stickers, and getting the chance to sit on the mayor's seat and use the gavel." Each student came up and banged on the gavel, some a little more than others.
Starting
Yeah.
up here.
Yeah.
Over there.
The teachers mentioned that this year, you and your team truly went above and beyond. We really appreciate the time and effort you put into making this visit so special. Thanks again.
Wait, so the kids got excited about local government?
They sure did.
Okay, just checking.
They did all the fun
I think the
stuff.
fire truck has something to do with that.
Oh, fire truck, okay.
Right, and the jail cell. I
Jail.
think.
Yes, very true.
Shade Tree meets tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Tourism report will be read at the next council meeting. And at the February 18th Board of Ed meeting, Dr. Heidelberg discussed shared services that Council President DeNoble asked me to convey. He stated, "Shared services allow us to maximize opportunities for growth while being mindful of resources." I, Dr. Heidelberg, wanted to highlight this aspect of our work, particularly in light of Friday's training, and recognize our ongoing commitment to these collaborative efforts. Shared services is always on our mind as it benefits our school and the taxpayers of Bradley Beach. He also shared more good news. He indicated that he's pleased to share that Bradley Beach Elementary School is now a kindness certified school. This recognition highlights the ongoing efforts of the students and staff in promoting a culture of kindness. Additionally, they've been working with the Bradley Beach Police Department to update drug-free school zone signs, as well as other signage for crosswalks and school safety. Thank you to the police department for their continued support in keeping our students safe. And that concludes Council President DeNoble's report.
Thank you again, Councilwoman. Councilman Weber.
Sure, and I think it is worth saying that the council president did a great job in your absence, but we certainly are glad that you are back here. For sure. So the Environmental Commission did not meet in this room last night due to an illness and a previous commitment. They didn't get a quorum, so they didn't meet. But as I've mentioned, they're working on Sustainable Jersey. The application of what they're gonna work on for Sustainable Jersey, or what they're gonna try to get points for, was due at the end of February. They got that in on time, so now between now and sometime in June, they're working to document all the things that they said that they're going for in terms of getting Sustainable Jersey points to be a Sustainable Jersey town. And that's where the real work comes in, and as I've said before, we might be calling on parts of town government to help us document this or that we're doing that is sustainable and environmental, and we're gonna get points for it. One other thing that I'm actually helping the Environmental Commission do is to track down a grant that the town got in 2000, at the very end of 2023, I believe. This was a $10,000 grant to do community energy planning. And it was state money, but Sustainable Jersey sort of has their hand in it, or the technical. Long story short, we got called 3/4 of the way through last year and said, hey, are you guys gonna give us a report for the grant? And we said, what grant? What are you talking about? Nobody had any idea. I couldn't get any answers from anybody in town. Finally, actually with our new CFO, he tracked it down like that. He said, oh, it got put in the wrong place or categorized wrong. So it was kind of maybe hard to find before that, but he found it. And we're basically just gonna beg the state to let us keep the money and, give us another year to actually do the work and get them the planning information that they're looking for in this grant. So fingers crossed that will happen, but that's something I'm kind of, I wouldn't say dumped, I have presented to the Environmental Commission, and they're gonna help with that. And then I'll be doing another round of meetings with DPW and community development, which I liaise to, and I think we'll do the next round with the administrator. I did the first round just solo, but I think it's time to bring in the big guns, and we'll have the administrator and the department head sit down, and we'll do another round of meetings for those very important departments in town. And then finally, I will read the first aid report, but I just realized I'm still getting these reports. Should these be going to Paul or something, or? Because on paper, I'm not the liaison anymore.
Okay.
We'll figure that out. Okay, so for the operational period ending today.
From Mexico for some reason.
No, it's fine, that's fine, but I get it, anyway. The squad responded to 2 day calls and 4 night calls for a total of 6 calls. 5 were for medical. There were no fire calls. The squad also welcomes their newest member, emergency medical technician Madeline Dillett. We would also like to congratulate member Edward Hagerman on obtaining his National Emergency Medical Technician certification. This brings the squad's total numbers of EMT serving the citizens of Bradley Beach to 11. There was 1 out-of-town mutual aid request for water rescue in Neptune Township, and the squad requested no mutual aid for this operational period. The squad fulfilled 100% of their assignments for this period. And as always, they're looking for volunteers for the first aid squad. There's free training for qualified individuals. Anyone wishing to volunteer with the first aid squad, they can find an application on the borough's website. And they are accepting applications for their cadet program, which are young people 16 to 18 years of age who want to serve their community. And that, Mayor, is my report.
Thank you, Councilman. I also have a report to read for Mr. Nowicki. Paul Nowicki is the council liaison to our police department, and I'm reading the police department report. A resident was arrested and charged with multiple accounts of arson and criminal mischief following a police investigation. The accused subject was linked to setting an intentional fire in Neptune Township early in the day, as well as 2 intentional fires in Bradley Beach. A quick response and attention to detail resulted in both fires being extinguished prior to any real damage being done, and the accused identified and taken into custody almost immediately. A local woman was arrested and charged with hindering apprehension and contempt of court following a field contact for a traffic violation. An officer from our K-9 unit was deployed to assist Avon PD on a narcotics vehicle sniff, which resulted in a positive alert. The subsequent search of the vehicle by Avon PD found suspected cocaine, narcotic pills, and drug paraphernalia. So our dogs are doing a very good job, not only for us, but for our neighboring municipalities. The Bradley Beach Police Department arrested 2 individuals on an active contempt of court warrants, and investigated 6 motor vehicle accidents since the last council meeting. So thanks goes to Detective Terry Browning for that report. I have a couple of other quick ones. Sylvan Lake, Paul Nowicki is the liaison. I served as a liaison for 5 years prior. Sylvan Lake's got really big plans for Sylvan Lake that will hopefully ultimately include the dredging of the lake and the restoration of the lake's health. There was a TAC meeting, a TAC, Technical Advisory Committee, I think is what that stands for. Paul and I both joined that meeting. That was about a week ago. And it's an amazing group of very talented, expert people, a number of engineers from different firms. And the biggest challenge is coordinating this group of people, all of whom between Avon and Bradley Beach are touching different projects, getting them all to work together. But that in fact is happening, and this TAC meeting was a great example of that. So they plan to move forward later this year towards increasing opportunities for grant funding, developing plans, doing some preliminary measuring of contaminants that may or may not still exist in the lake. So there's a lot going on. That group will be reporting into our Sylvan Lake Commission, but it's just an amazing amount of work going on. And they've got the federal government involved. They've got the state agencies involved. Captain Al Majeski from the American Littoral Society is involved. Jim Shishis was, I think he was here earlier. He's a resident. He's involved. So it's a really amazing group of people helping us. We referenced the 3rd graders in Council President DeNoble's report. They had a blast. I want to add in that our representatives, not only Councilwomen Greenblatt and DeNoble, but I know I'm going to forget somebody, but 2 of them are sitting right. Well, actually, Chief, he couldn't attend, but Captain Browning did. Biagio, you had a couple of your guys join. So we had police, DPW represented. We had the rec center represented. Courtney Pappas. We, like I said, I know I was going to forget folks, but of course, Erica. Amy Hall did a phenomenal job. She actually set up little passports. So as the kids toured the building, they got a little sticker in their little passport book for visiting the clerk, for slamming the mayor's gavel. And the 3rd graders had a blast. So it was fun for all of us, I think, that were here to watch it. And, you know, hopefully we did inspire a little more interest in local government, because it's such an important role for that next generation to consider playing. You've probably picked up on the fact we have a lot of Memorial Day projects and planning in place or putting in place. A couple meetings ago, we signed a contract or approved a contract for host compliance. We want that in place because those guys are the ones who are going to be monitoring short-term rentals. Short-term rentals are going to hit hard beginning Memorial Day. You heard us tonight approve Park Mobile, but that parking is going to be very impressive. We have the handicap wheelchair access points that we're looking at for Cliff Avenue and Evergreen. We are looking at eliminating some of the difficult site triangles down on Ocean Avenue, where the east-west streets, when you're heading east towards the ocean and you're looking for oncoming traffic coming from your left, coming from the north, it's virtually impossible to see. So we're probably going to eliminate 3 or 4, probably 3 parking spaces at 5 or 6 different streets, net taking out maybe 18 parking spaces. But in the interest of safety and a more, a better experience in our beachfront, we'll be looking at that as well. You heard Mr. Duffy talk about Fallen Heroes. We want that in place by Memorial Day. And we do have a Memorial Day committee that's worked on this for a number of years for the parade itself. So an awful lot going on over the next 3 months for Bradley Beach just there. I'm gonna repeat once again, can't say it enough, Local 152 and the leadership, not only our employees, but the leadership of the Local 152 negotiating team did a phenomenal job. Thank you again. And finally, I just want to say thank you to Bradley Beach community at large. The outpouring of support and prayers. My son was and his wife were injured in an automobile accident. Bottom line is they were very serious injuries, and yet they're recovering wonderfully, miraculously, I might say. But the support we got from the community was immeasurable. So I said it on Facebook last night, I think, and I want to say it to the folks here and on Zoom, but thank you very much for your support. That concludes my comments. With that said, we can now open it up to public comments and questions. Yes, Paul.
Paul Chappie, 411 Lorraine Avenue. I just want to let everyone know that the third grade class will be visiting the Bradley Beach Historical Society at our museum in Biasi Center on Wednesday. You're going to be a hard act to follow. We've got to figure out something as exciting as having a passport stamp.
Find it all out.
But we're looking forward to it, and they seem to always have a good time. For those of you who don't know that there is a museum in the Biasi Center, which is probably most of the town, it's been largely closed since COVID, and we did actually formally open it in January with a reception. And we hope to have it open on a regular basis. We're training docents, and we hope to have it open a few hours each week on 2 or 3 different days. And in the meantime, if anyone would like to see our exhibit of early Bradley Beach and also some of our standing display cases of different artifacts from our history, you can contact me for a personal tour. I will open up the museum for you. We are busy working with a bunch of volunteers to inventory our archives, something that was never done. And to set up, we have one room that has not been used for displays in, I think, probably about 8 years. And we hope to have that set up with some displays later in the year. So more to come on the Historical Society and the Museum at the Biasi Center. But I'd like everyone to know that it's there. And if you'd like to see it, contact me.
Thank you, Paul. Other comments or questions? Yeah.
We're 504 Central Avenue here in Bradley. I'm serving the town with towards 9 and 10 tonight. There's copies for members absent. It should be in order if you could
Okay,
just
thank you.
pass it to them. I'm serving the borough with the towards plan 9 and 10. What I've uncovered while researching what's been hidden for 8 years under Mayors Engelstad and Fox administration is alarming. Let's rewind. Last year, Fox sat right here and told us the borough had approximately 26 bank accounts. The 22 audit flagged that our bank accounts weren't reconciled monthly. I openly requested the list, and what I got was a 3-page list from the CFO titled Cash Reconciliation, December 31st, 2023.
It showed not 26 accounts, but 53, double what we were told, across 3 banks totaling $10.7 million. So I offered a detailed list of what each bank account was used for. The response, the borough doesn't maintain a list. No list for 53 bank accounts. I pushed further, requested to review the financial ledgers at Borough Hall supervised. Mr. Cannon denied my request, claiming over a dozen allowed citizens to inspect the finance office. Except I didn't ask to rummage through desks or filing cabinets. I asked to examine the ledgers and finance records. The Citizen's Guide to Oprah is crystal clear. Those are public documents and should be immediately accessible for inspection. Then there's the construction permits and fair share housing, trust accounts, and missing fees. I also requested new build permits from 2017 to 24 to calculate what should have been collected in fees for fair share housing. The response, we don't maintain a list. You have to request a specific address, no tally permits, no record of growth. For the last 8 years, they couldn't grab a $1 notebook from the dollar store and jot down an address, date, and permit number and add it up at the end of each month to get a yearly total. It's not hard unless you don't want to track it. A borough that can't report its own development statistics, that's not incompetence, that's shady. I am of the belief that the fees were collected but not deposited into the borough's coffers. Just think about it. Every new build, every renovation, that's literally hundreds of projects over 8 years. Just one example, a building on Main Street had a 3.5 million renovation at 2.5%. That should have been $87,500 in our account. And that's just one project. Why do I believe this? Because I discovered that the borough went through the complex process of passing ordinances, resolutions, and paying to have a housing element and fair share plan prepared for the borough planning board by a professional planner. The document was signed and sealed in September of 2016 in accordance with the State Board of Professional Planners. And all that was left to do was open the trust account and start collecting the fees according to our state's obligation and consistent with and in compliance with borough ordinances. But for 8 years, not one construction official, attorney, CFO, business administrator, or clerk questioned why we weren't collecting these fees to the tune of millions of dollars. There must be an investigation to determine if there were secret deals made under the table, if they took less money in exchange for collecting the whole fee and pocketed the cash themselves. Oh, and one more thing. I over-requested emails between Fox, DeMarco, and Fehrenbach about T&M drafting the RFP for the church demolition, as Cannon and Costas revealed on January 21st in their private conversation tied to Port 7. The reply, too many emails. They need a 37-day extension for Cannon to review and redact. Redact what? These aren't state secrets, they're public records about a demolition. Unless there's something to hide, there is more. This is a move right out of Bernstein's playbook. I've got a news flash for Mr. Cannon. When the authorities come knocking, redactions won't be an option. So here we are, hundreds of thousands of dollars unaccounted for during Fox's tenure. 53 mystery bank accounts the borough hasn't reconciled, still no 23 audit, COVID money still unaccounted for, no construction permits, no fair share housing fees collected for 8 years, estimated to be $2 million, a 37-day extension of an Oprah request for emails with redactions decided upon by one of the remaining Fox administration officials who implicated himself in one of Fox's many criminal acts. This isn't mismanagement, it's a disturbing pattern of criminal behavior and it's too big to be dismissed. There's a motive, means, and opportunity and overwhelming evidence to support probable cause. This didn't happen in a vacuum. It spanned 8 years and 2 mayors. I'm demanding answers. I've involved the authorities who are actively investigating these irregularities. I forwarded them evidence, including evasive responses I've received regarding my open requests, attempting to get to the bottoms of these issues. As things continue to be uncovered, it appears I was correct when I said that I believe that there was a criminal network operating within our borough, that there was racketeering, embezzlement, and RICO crimes being committed. However, it appears to have started well before Larry Fox, and some of the co-conspirators are still employed by the borough, but hopefully not for much longer. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I appreciate you inviting me for that
Can
extra.
I add something to that? Just so everybody knows, and yeah, we know the fee has been in place since 2017, I think, for the affordable housing fee. There's one other step that I became aware of, that we had to get the ordinance itself with to collect the fee approved by the court, and that actually took some time. I don't know exactly, but I think the last mayor kicked that off, and it took some time and it's finally approved, so, I mean, much as I would like the clock to go back to 2017 and we could have been collecting those fees since then, there was still another step that the courts had to say, yes, we approve your fee ordinance, and then we could start collecting, and that seemed to take a year or two or something along those lines. And then one other thing, the attorneys have to review every Oprah to redact. It doesn't matter, it has nothing to do with it, they just. That's why it's expensive when people go first, so, it's just a step, every Oprah request goes to an attorney for redaction. It may not get redacted, but everyone goes, so just.
Okay, James, move on. Was there a question in the back? Jim, did you have one? Or comment?
Conversion 420 Monmouth. I wasn't sure about the elimination of parking street, where that was occurring, the parking spots, where that was occurring.
I don't have the specific streets, but I can describe it and you can easily figure it out.
Ocean Ave?
Along Ocean Ave.
It's all on Ocean Avenue.
It's, yeah, it's, yes, so it's.
Because if we're inland, I would think we could consider four-way stops, because even inland, there's some.
Oh, okay. That specific comment, though, we've hired Avakian, and they are making recommendations to us to improve the side triangles on, there are certain streets that are westbound only, like Newark. That's fine, but anything that's eastbound is likely to have an obscured view of the traffic coming from the north. And I think there's 6 of those streets, 5 or 6 of those streets, so they're gonna give us their recommendations, but it's all on Ocean Ave.
There is one obscured triangle or three-way leaving Bradley Boulevard, the northbound side, often oversized vehicles, very hard to get out, make a left turn without southbound traffic. That's a bad sight line. That would be one, especially when oversized.
So Bradley Boulevard pulling onto Ocean, you're saying?
No, Bradley Boulevard pulling onto Main.
Onto Main, yeah, okay.
Sean probably runs it.
Well, this first effort is focused on Ocean, but we have site triangle problems, so you're right, all over town. So we will continue to evaluate those as we go, but this first pass, Memorial Day coming up, we're doing all this other work, pick up and drop offs for handicap showers, so forth. We thought it was a good time, if we're gonna be repainting some of the striping, to take out some of the obstacles for our vision.
Right, thank you.
Okay, thanks. Any other comments or questions? Oh, yes, Mia.
Mia Moon, 302 Fourth Avenue, just related to the traffic and the bad sightline. I think it's Madison that when I'm driving south. There should be 4-way stop signs, but it looks like someone crossed out on the signs. The stop sign itself, there's nothing, it doesn't say 4-way, it's just a stop sign, but yet it's a 4-way intersection.
At Madison?
I think it's Madison going south.
Well, it's not gonna be a 4-way, because Madison's a 1-way. Right?
Oh, the 3-way
It would
is
be a
crossed
3-way,
out,
right.
right? But yet it is a 3-way. So I just find it odd when I'm driving down there, like, why is that blocked out? It was originally on the sign, but it seems like
Do you know what the
something
cross?
covered it over.
Yeah, what's the cross street, do you know?
No. Maybe just. I just
Is
noticed
it
that when I'm
north
coming
end of
from
town,
Richmond,
or
Ocean Grove.
center of town, south end, just roughly?
Oh, on the north end, because it's just as I'm approaching Fourth Avenue from the north. There's a couple of them that it's just blocked out, and they're 3-way, so it's just confusing to me as the driver. I'm like, well, is there a stop sign? And I see there's a stop sign, but I have to look at it. It doesn't tell me that there's 3-way, even though there is. Maybe it's my imagination, but I swear I've seen this
Well,
over the last year or two.
yeah, well, our supervisor of DPW is telling me that we will look into it.
Okay, it's just a notice. Right, sorry.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions or comments? All right, well, in that case, we have no executive session, item 15. So we are at adjournment. I make a motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye. Meeting adjourned. Thanks, everyone.